Thank you. Thank you very much for having me here. Richard invited me and I glad came, so it's fantastic. So let's see my first slide. Okay, it's already there. Design and advertising. I'm a designer. I'm a Brazilian designer, but I was educated more or less in Germany. So I studied in Germany studied and worked in Germany for 7 years, and I come back to Brazil. So I started working in advertising actually in Germany, and I have to say, I'm a result of a mixture of two opposites: Brazilian organic thinking and the German precision discipline of thinking. So I mix both. The Brazilians are very colorful, very chaotic, and the Germans are very reductionist. They try to reduction. Today in the sessions I learned about Dutch design, that Dutch design is reduction as well. So I mix Dutch, German, and Brazilian. So 35 years in advertising, and I was mixing both design and advertising, the German precision, discipline, coherence, and the Brazilian anarchism. And 23 years running my own agency, which is Almap BBDO, and I sold it last year in September. So I'm in my sabbatical, so that's why I'm traveling here and enjoy my life. And I pretend to live 1 year in Hawaii from July on, just to surf. It's true. Excellent. That's why we work for, no? So 23 years running an agency like Almap is a really stressful job. It's like running a Formula 1 racing team out of Brazil. And the two things that I learned, and this already know, I like to be very simple in everything I do. Being simple is a mantra that my work has always had. So be simple, but being simple alone is not enough. You know, you may end up being simplistic. So you have to be simple and unpredictable. Because if you are just simple, you are boring. If you are just unpredictable, you're just looking for buzz. So it's how to make it the balance between both. And I always say, being simple means looking for the obvious, but not the obvious just as obvious, but obvious for the first time. A single image, a single concept, a line, a picture, whatever, but it has to be impactful, it has to be unpredictable, it has to be very simple. I'm going to show one example of work. It's not very politically correct. It's a cigarette campaign. It's not for me, not for our agency, but just to show the path of work that I like and how an advertising agency can use design for its benefits. It's one example of design being applied to advertising. And I'm going to show one brand and 3 different ads. 3 ads for the same cigarette brand. The first ad is one created by an average agency, a very mediocre marketing director, and a not so ambitious creative team, which is the average of our industry sometimes. It's like this. The low-tar cigarette. It says it all. This is the brand, this is the cigarette. It says what it's for. There is maybe a cup of something, coffee, I don't know exactly what it is, but anyway, so you can smoke a cigarette having a coffee. Boring. Brings the message, okay, but it's boring. The second one is an ad made by an agency that wants to be creative, but doesn't know how. Another very mediocre marketing director, and a very ambitious creative team. They really want to do it. But they didn't know, maybe they are not in the right environment, and they do an ad like this for the same brand. It says, must have silk. It's weird. It's strange, it's unpredictable, but not simple. And the next ad is one by a brilliant agency, a great marketing director, and a genius creative team. And it's like this, Silk Cut. And this is a campaign that was one of the most powerful cigarette brands campaigns. I know it's not politically correct to talk about cigarette advertising, but anyway, this is a brilliant example of reduction and make it. They started from this billboard and developed one of the most successful campaigns in the UK. So, trying to be simple, good, and unpredictable was my job for 35 years. I would put funny in there as well because we are Brazilians, and if it's not funny, it's not good enough. So, walking the talk. I'm going to show you a couple of commercials and some of the work. The first one is for Volkswagen.
All car makers have some sort of quality control. All car makers check what they do. But there's one car maker that takes this so seriously that it developed the most rigorous quality control system in the world. Everything gets thoroughly checked and then double-checked. Volkswagen. You know it, you trust it.
The next one is trying to be very simple but funny at the same time. So. The next one, thank you. The next one is a very simple concept, and we use only the product, which is in this case stock footage, and we developed this commercial. I'm going to jump a little bit. Wish you gave me 25 minutes or 15. Because it's just saying that 7 minutes, so I have to rush. So it's not art, but not try it. Advertising is about selling. Nowadays, it's very difficult to find a creative guy that says selling to his proposition. Everybody's trying to make content, save the planet, make good things, and forget sometimes that brands are there to sell stuff. You can do it right. You can do it with a purpose. You can do it with an idea that really change people's mind and behavior for good. But we don't forget, we are selling it. And we try to do it in a nice way. Try to do it in an art form or be unpredictable with great stuff. Because otherwise, cliches, all the cliches in advertising that you watch every day, cliches is something that you cannot die. It's a Highlander. And the cliche in a meeting room as a client, when you're depending on the money, on the survival of your agency, cliches may comfort you, comfort the cowards, and protect the mediocre. So many of the advertising industry work that you see in the industry today is based on cliches, and the business go on. So we tried in the agency to look for the benefit, always to the benefit. I'm going to show you a couple of works. The first one is the Grand Prix from 1993. It's about the benefit of a diet soft drink. Just one image, and you say exactly what the benefit is. Diet Guaraná. Another one is a poster for Audi, for the 5th generation ABS, using the logos of the client. Or the difference between 2-grip and 4-grip much better, the Quattro technology that was being sold in Brazil for the first time. In Brazil, most of the clients have no money at all, so we have to make a splash, make it something impactful. Sometimes it's a kind of David Goliath kind of stuff, so the small one has to throw a stone to the Goliath, to the giant, so that he may be noticed. So I'm going to show one campaign, for instance, that I did in 1994. It's a very old one, but it's still fun. At that time, they were almost divorcing. And I got almost sued by the British ambassador at that time. But it was a funny way of making a splash. We didn't have money to run a whole campaign, so we have money for 1 month. So we have to launch this brand in the fashion magazines just for 1 month. So I developed a campaign that was really impactful, the press talked about, and it was a good idea to have a buzz. The other one is the launch of a brand that was unknown in Brazil, and we used the Olympics for throw a stone to Goliath.
Nike versus Mizuno, the acid test. On the left foot, Nike. On the right foot, Mizuno. Mizuno in the lead, Nike in the lead, 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 Mizuno in the lead. Mizuno is the winner, Nike is last.
Today I would go to jail. Nike gonna put me in jail, they have good lawyers. At that time we could do this. A Brazilian global brand. In 1994, when I joined Alma, we started the agency. The first client that joined was Havaianas. At that time, it was just a simple rubber sandal, and it was the cost of 50 cents. And we developed a campaign step by step, using print, using out of home, using TV, a lot of TV commercials in Brazil. And I'm going to just pass through some of the iconic work that we have done for Havaianas. This is the way I draw some of the sketches, and then very colorful, and it's a lot of work that has been done during this 20 years. Always the sandal is always in the middle. It's always the hero of the idea. It's not somewhere down there. I'm not telling a story that's not related to the product. And it's something that we keep always in advertising, at least I kept always trying to talk the story about the product, not about something else, and the product is just sponsoring the idea. I developed a typeface with the sandals to use in many ads and posters. We also we have a design department in the agency, and then we start developing patterns like this one. Now I have 11 minutes. Wonderful. It's changed. Yeah, thanks, Richard. So, can you relax a little bit? I was really in a hurry. So, we developed those patterns, and you use as towels and shirts and all ads. These are more fashionable kind of Havaianas. Then I asked some Brazilian folk artists to develop some feet. The only thing that has to be the space to put the sandal in the middle. Those are artists from the countryside, from the northeast, and in the interior of São Paulo, from São Paulo, Minas, and in the north of Brazil. This is one of the campaigns we did for New York. So we did all the international work as well for Havaianas. So there's a lot of stuff. But anyway, it was really fun to work with this brand. So even the Pope isn't infallible anymore. Why I'm showing this? Because the new Pope just said he made mistakes. If a Pope can make mistakes, why brands cannot? We had the impression that in the past, all the brands were perfect. And they actually developed a kind of language that their product is perfect, their brand is perfect, and everybody that loves the brand knows this is a perfect brand. And brands are not perfect. Why I'm showing this? Because I have worked for Volkswagen. So I left the agency in September, and 2 months later, the diesel scandal appeared. I was really upset about the story because I love the brand, and the brand is such a beautiful brand to work for. So I developed this ad that maybe today I wouldn't do it. But the history of advertising couldn't happen without Volkswagen. Volkswagen, actually in the 50s in the US, started a new age of modern advertising. Bill Benbar, DDB, started a campaign to launch the Beetle. And I have a chance to work for the Beetle again, because in 1995, the Brazilian president wanted to have the Volkswagen to build the Beetle again for the masses. So we developed a huge campaign, huge. And this is just one piece of the campaign, when we put in some billboards around Brazil from 0 to 100 in enough time. How can you sell a car that's so old-fashioned in a moment where everybody's buying really fantastic brands? The next one is just one ad for a long campaign that we did, which is, in a world where trends change every day, it's good to know there is a Volkswagen. It's all about design. The design of Volkswagen at that time was made to last longer. Why the competitors, the Japanese, the Korean, and the Italian Fiat, they were launching cars with brand names, different names, all the time. Why Volkswagen has the Golf, the Beetle, and in Brazil, Gol, which is a very old-fashioned car. But it's always changing the design, but keeping the lines. So keeping design long-lasting. And we made a huge campaign about that, and it was very successful. The next one is an ad I did for the Golf. And these words in Portuguese, Vixe in Portuguese, would be close to Virgin Mary reduced. And putz, it's a kind of bad word if you use it, putz. And we use this ad for the new Speed. Today I couldn't do it. It would be tough. 2 ways of seeing a category. Dog food. The first ad is, he might look like you, but he doesn't have to eat the same food, which is a campaign made for countries like Brazil, Russia, where people actually give the dogs the rest of their meal. So we developed this campaign to make a point. It was a very funny, it was the first viral campaign that we did. People actually send those images via email at that time. There was no social networks. The next way of selling this is a more modern time. Instead of selling the food, we're selling the importance of having a dog. And it's about adopting dogs, and it's about making your market grow by people wanting to have a dog. And so we try to portray the difference between a life with and without a dog. And a dog makes your life happier. Adopt. Which is, you can think about the whole story with a dog and without a dog. Old-fashioned style. This is what I believe, and I talked about before. I think the product, we are doing advertising, not there to sell a product, to sell an image, sell an idea. So you have to have this idea, this image, or this product in the center of what we are doing. I can tell you stories about brand campaigns that are running today. They have very inspirational values. But at the end comes a brand that the connection is not very clear. So well, you might remember the inspiration idea, the manifesto, but you might forget the brand or the product that's behind it. So it's very difficult today. People just don't like to sell stuff. They like to sell inspiration. But we are here to sell stuff. This is a billboard for an ice cream, the mango, and then on the side is the seed. Simple, direct, and as a poster. This one for Whiskas as well. The benefit in the middle. The same with this one. And the next one is the Pepsi with a touch of lemon, and I made the lemon pea. The next campaign is exactly about design and advertising. try to design the benefit of the product in a single image. Very simple. You take everything out. It's just black and white and the product. And you put the product exactly where the benefit is. For Mizuno sneakers. Here the same. Advertising as a mirror. I'm going to show you 2 ads from a campaign that I did in 2006. In 2006, Brazil was facing the first signs of the corruption scandal that we are facing today. The government was supposed to have been giving money to the Congress to pass the laws they need. So it was the first signs of the scandal. Everybody got really upset. And we didn't know this was going to end up 10 years later, how the situation we are today. But at that time, I made an ad. A client came to me and was selling jeans, Brazilian jeans. They were very good Brazilian jeans. Everybody loved the jeans. But then you have the Diesels, the international Italian brands coming to Brazil, selling very cheap, and they have a problem of having the Brazilian jeans. So I talked to the guy, to the client, said, let's do a very aggressive campaign, using something that only Brazilians can use, which is our situation at the moment. And jeans is all about rebellion, it's about being there and discussing stuff that are really, how can I say, a little bit like a revolution. It used to be in the past. So I made this ad, which is 2006. They're using for the next 10 years, everybody's using this image as a social networks to saying how a brand should react to what's happening at the moment. And we cleaned, this is the Brazilian Congress, and I made a lot of ads and images like this. Now I'm going to show you some very unfashionable as well. Celebrities are normal people. If you look at sports, Ronaldo's, Messi's, every single ad you see, they are portrayed like heroes, like people that are beyond imagination. They do stuff that normal people cannot do. And in Brazil, we like to use celebrities as an underdog. Put the celebrity where it should belong. It's a normal people. And the hero should be a kid or someone else. I'm going to show you just one ad because the time is running. I'll show this one.
Beckham's been taken off by Manchester United. Do you think he's had a knock or is it tactical?
By the way, Beckham doesn't look too happy about it. You can understand it in a game this big.
Yes, the pressure is
Can I have a sip of that?
Juventus coming in them relentlessly, but Manchester United are giving as good as they get.
That's right. Now, if Man could hold them for just a little bit longer, it could be enough to hold on Juventus and give them a
Cheers,
chance
mate.
to come back in them.
Manchester United
Excuse me,
forward surging up the centre.
can I have your shirt, please?
Sure.
Thanks, mate.
Juventus have the ball.
This is just not Beckham's day.
You know, this ad is quite unfashionable today. It's out of date. You see the commercials on Ronaldo, Messi. Unfortunately, no Brazilian player can make a commercial nowadays, but anyway. They are all heroes. Everybody is so untouchable. It's over there on the heavens. And I like to bring celebrities to reality. Let's talk something about what's happening today with the media landscape. What's happening is the end of mass media, as we know it. Mass media in the past, we spread a message. Everybody was watching the same programs, watching and getting the same message. Everybody was there. Now, with the fragmentation of media, social media, what happens is we're developing ourselves, we're putting ourselves in bubbles. Bubbles where we look for information that suits us, that we like. We can choose by Google everything we like. We can actually surround ourselves with people that think like us. And at the end, everyone is in bubbles of people that like-minded people. And we search the company of people we feel comfortable with. And what we are doing is we are preaching to converted. And we have the illusion of diversity. But if you really look what's happening in the US, what's happening in Brazil, what's happening in the UK, the conflict between ideas is so strong that people cannot come to a common ground because everybody's taking their defense. And in Brazil, it's a mess. There are people from the right, people from the left, people that like the government, people hate, but we cannot discuss. Why? Because we have this bubble in social media. Our tweet feeds are with people that we like. They like their opinions and so on. And the moment you see something else that goes a little bit different from the bubble, we get angry and upset. How can he think like that? And so it's quite difficult at the moment to live in a landscape where everybody's in a bubble. In advertising, you have to go in each bubble and make a message specific to that bubble. So it's fragmented and it's very difficult to communicate. So as a brand, there's a lot of pressure for good. And there's a certain dictatorship of virtues. I'm going to show why I'm saying this. This is a very funny drawing for potato chips, corn chips. And this is the brand lettering, salty, crunchy, sharing, family, happiness, world peace. And the client says, I think we can go higher. It's just a salty crunch. It's just something simple. And this is a problem that I have, this is a shot that I use a lot of times. If all brands, every single brand is trying to save the planet, then who is the asshole who is destroying it? And this is true because every single brand is out there to do good, or to say to do good. And the future of advertising is not just about saying, it's about doing. Saying it's not enough. We have spent 30 years in advertising, talking and talking and talking, but we have to walk the talk. And the clients of the brands, they are saying a lot about the future, about social. They have to be social in their companies and outside the companies. I like to see things being done and not being said. Thank you. I forgot something. I forgot something.
We hardly have any time for questions, but I have one thing that you are going to say about the theme next year of what design can do.
I'm just a Brazilian guy, but I hope next year, and I'm sure next year you're going to see a lot of Brazilian people here showing all we can do, and it's going to be the theme for next year. And I'm happy that Brazil. Okay. And I hope Richard's going to have at least green trousers for your suit.